So recently I stumbled upon a couple of those like cheapest thing on Amazon videos, and I review a lot of headphones, so I thought I'd check out the cheapest headphones that you can buy on Amazon. But I kind of had to modify it for the cheapest headphone you can buy on Amazon Prime for a couple reasons. One, there's like hundreds of 1 cent headphones that you have to pay shipping for. Like literally, they're a cent, and then it's like $4 or $5 or $6 in shipping. This one, if you have Amazon Prime, you get free shipping. And I was kind of curious of not how bad it was, because I don't expect it to be good, but I am curious of how good it is for the $4.85 I paid for this. And this headphone is the Maxell HP200. So let's go ahead and open it up. I'm going to do some listening, and I'll catch up with you guys in a second. Okay, so I have these $4 headphones hooked up to this iFi IDSD Pro, which is a $2,400 DAC amp. So I should be getting the best possible version of these Maxells, I think. And I've listened to a couple songs now, and I can actually confidently say that they're not that bad. Like, they're not good, but like for $4, like they have actual like soundstage, which is kind of funny, vocal separation, which is good, not that much bass, and not that sharp a treble. Like, I'm not expecting it to be super well resolving or anything, but it's not. It's better than I actually expected it to be, and I have heard worse higher end headphones. So there does seem to be one particular issue with the bass response on the left ear cup. It actually rattles a little bit. I can't tell if it's loose plastic that's rattling or if it's an actual driver issue. I do need to listen a little bit more and find out kind of what frequency that is. I honestly expected more issues out of this thing than just a slight rattling. So it's kind of positive for that, but when you're kind of looking at like the law of diminishing returns, this is actually really high as a value proposition. Okay, so I'm gonna listen to some Hans Zimmer now, just because of the large scale, and I want to see how it handles the bass response and the big, huge brass and all that stuff. Also, when I shake my head, I can hear the driver like going. So I think the driver's just loose in there, which is funny. So this little black plate thing says 32 ohms, but you can actually put quite a bit of power into this, and it does seem to be relatively low on the sound pressure level. So you can actually push this thing kind of hard, surprisingly. Okay, so for the actual breakdown of sound here, not as bad as I thought. There's not really much bass response. Like, there's a little bit of like mid bass around 80 hertz is like where it starts to kind of kick up a little bit, although it's not like boxy or bloaty or anything. It's pretty clean there. Mid-range actually, for the money, has actually pretty solid presentation. So you'll have all these other outside sounds that are kind of, there's not like massive layering, but it does kind of seem kind of wide. And then the imaging of the vocalist is actually pretty front and center, kind of inside your head. And it was able to do that separation pretty well. Now, it does, on the imaging and sound side, kind of display sounds either left or right outside of vocals. Vocals seem to be the only thing that can have kind of a center presentation, whereas like a large field of sound usually doesn't really feel like, this whole big, vast scale. It just kind of seems right and left. And scale is another thing that this thing is not very good at, although, maybe judging on a grade or the price, then yeah, pretty decent. You can listen to some like gaming soundtracks and things that do sound pretty wide, and Hans Zimmer did sound not huge, but it sounded reasonably vast considering the $4 price tag. Okay, but let's talk about the build of this thing. So I have the cheapest in-ear monitors coming, and these are the cheapest headphones, classified as headphones. And my only classification when I was looking for the cheapest one was they were either on ear or over ear. And so they sit kind of over your ear, completely plastic, rattles a little bit, no surprise there. Actually a decent bit of headband extension. So this will probably fit a lot of heads. Now I'm a medium-sized head and I sit on the lowest here, the lowest setting. And if you got a small head, may not quite fit on this, but overall fitment is, you know, it's really lightweight. Clamp pressure is not all that strong. The foam is thick enough to where this is a pretty comfortable headphone. Like, it doesn't really feel like you're wearing much, and in this particular circumstance, that's a good thing. Okay, so we're overall for $4. I feel like you definitely get what you paid for, right? You got some build issues. It rattles a little bit. It doesn't sound awful. It doesn't, you know, it's not overly bright or overly sharp or overly harsh. It does fold up nicely, right? It folds in this direction, so you can kind of store this away. If you're really, really on a budget, it's not a bad buy. I don't know how long it would last. It's it's worth $5, I guess. So in that sense, it's recommended. It's actually not the worst thing I've ever heard, surprisingly. So I think that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Yeah, Maxell. What is this? T8. Oh shit. That's gonna wrap it up for the Maxell HP 200 review. Have a great day.